Hi everyone and welcome back. That's right, it's Monday, but because it's international break, we don't have a Bundesliga and A-League season review, no, weekly review like we normally would. Instead, we're just going to bring you another tea break like we said the other day, and this one's probably going to be the least prepared that we've ever done. It's just going to basically be straight off the cuff, this one. It's just going to be incredibly random over, things that have happened in the sporting world over the weekend in terms of a game that Ben went to and a certain cricket final, among other just complete random nonsense. Even with this intro beginning, I mean, look, how are you, Ben? You've just had a lovely Thai dinner, haven't you?
Lovely. If I can remember the name of the place in the city at the GPO. Anyway, if you find it, guys, head in. Fantastic food, as there is in this city of ours. But yeah, really interesting weekend. Did get to a game, and I didn't see any of the last day of the Shield final, which was free entry, I was told, by the way. So nice of the MCC members to be able to mingle with the regulars, I suppose. But not a great result for the locals. But we'll dive into that as we go along. But
Yeah.
So, interesting weekend to say the least, and and obviously. You've just started a new gig as well, so so there's a bit of a new transition, I guess. But it's going to be, as you said, we haven't really prepared for this, have we?
So not at all. It's just going to kind of see where the wind takes us, man. It's just one of those. I mean, look, firstly, it's good to see Melbourne's weather is starting to find its feet. I know it's going to be a bit hotter again tomorrow. I think like 29. But look, I got my jumper on.
Mm-hmm.
I love cold weather, as you know. It's much better than the stifling heat that Australia often provides us.
Deceptively warm, I think, for this time of year. What are we literally nearly in April, and we're still getting like sort of 28, 29 degrees.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's
today and tomorrow. So.
Mainly it's been cold. It was pissing it down with rain last week. That's for sure. So much so that our balcony got absolutely destroyed, and some of the plants that we bought a couple of weeks back.
Oh no!
They're dead, basically.
Shit.
For lack of a better word, because they were absolutely got soaked from the rain. Because it's not like we could put them all inside. We got way too much, like as people could see in this like video, plants behind me as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those days, isn't it, with Melbourne?
4 seasons in one day.
But I like the way I'm English, so bring on the rain. Like no.
Rain. I prefer the cold as well, and I always sort of know it's getting cooler because the A-League season is sort of starting to finish, but the AFL season starting to sort of ramp up in the early stages. So that's always, and obviously with the cricket sort of starting to wind down, but Where do where do you want to start? Where are we kicking off tonight?
I mean, we'll start with that Shield final. Why not? We'll quickly get that elephant in the room out the way, should say. With South Australia winning their second consecutive Shield final, if I'm correct.
Yes.
In that. And from absolutely nowhere, and I swear I told you the other day when we were in Chadstone, that I said, I reckon if it was, it wasn't even a 200 chase. I think it was 190 something, wasn't it, that you were chasing in the end? And I said that would be difficult on these Australian pitches. To be honest, from the highlights I saw, it didn't look like the Junction was offering it. Well, definitely not offering as much as what Optus and stuff were offering in the Ashes over the summer. So I was a bit surprised by that. Look, a good mixture of some South Australian bowling, it has to be said. Henry Thornton bowled excellently. He got 3 for 20 something, and he bowled like more than 15 overs. So like the economy rate was really good from him. Nathan McAndrew was always solid, and Liam Scott bowled really well as well. But some awful shot selection from your batsman, especially on that last day. Like Ollie Peake really put like a couple of just kind of like hack and slash sort of attempts from your batsman getting caught behind a lot of the time, and just a very poor way to lose a final, really.
It is disappointing from my point of view, because I sort of I've followed the Vics in all forms pretty closely this year. They were the dominant side in the Shield for the whole year. Obviously, finishing top and having hosting rights, but SA, going for back-to-back, I mean, you can never discount them, and even with both sides, stacked full of international or national team representatives, Boland and
Carey, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, Alex Carey, I think it was just those two.
Yeah.
Unless
we're counting Todd Murphy as an international still.
Still, Mackenzie Harvey did play for South Australia as well, so Ben Menenti, that's right. We sort of joke between us that, he's gone from batting for Italy one game and then coming into a Shield final the next. It's the Junction Oval is certainly not Chennai National Stadium, is it? So, definitely different conditions for him. But and I think I also said he was in the first innings he was batting quite well. I think the very next ball he went out. So I was trying to put a bit of a moz on them perhaps, but. I mean, look, certainly I've got the scorecard up in front of me, and look, from a Victorian point of view in the first inning, Fergus O'Neill made 64 not out, which ironically was the highest score of the entire Victoria innings. And who would have thought, get a TAB sort of sports bet sort of odds on that happening? You're laughing, but the thing that I guess was good from the game overall is it did actually go for the full 5 days, even though today was just the game was wrapped up in the first hour, considering the rain that we were talking about on Thursday that we thought might sort of wash out most of the first day and some of the second, which thankfully it didn't. It was only just after lunch.
I think, to be honest, the key thing happened at the back end of day 4. You were 3 down, you were looking. Harris and Hanscom were building that partnership, and then those 2 late wickets of Hanscom and Harris really basically put it all the way back in South Australia's favour, because there wasn't an awful lot of batting really left in your team after that point. Mitchell Perry's not the greatest batsman by all accounts. Ollie Peake came in very low. I'm not sure if that was an injury or anything, but again, didn't look that good. His dismissal was average, and other than that, you're really just looking at your bowlers. So it was really those 2 late wickets that kind of broke the game open, and ultimately what gave them the win. As I said, the pitch to me from the highlights of what I saw didn't look like it was doing that much compared to what other Australian pitches have done throughout the summer. But I just think South Australia really found a way to kind of trouble your batsmen, and then added with the fact of, as I said, some odd shot selections and poor shots at times as well. Yeah. And there was a lot of drama, obviously, between the whole overstepping stuff, because a lot of those South Australia bowlers were getting very kind of close to the line on a number of occasions, and maybe one of them at least, I think, is a little harsh how that was given out as far as I'm concerned. I can't remember whose wicket it was, but it was one of the tail end wickets that fell.
Right.
When Henry Thornton, I would just about argue overstepped, to be honest. I don't know, the umpire didn't see it that way, and but would it have made too much of a difference at that point? Because I still think you were about 7 or so down anyway at that point.
I'd say it would have been O'Neill or Sutherland's wicket, because Thornton took both of those. One was a clean bowl, but I mean, you're right though, it wouldn't have made any difference. I would have been 7 down maybe at that point. But I mean, the good news for Victoria was Scott Boland had a 0 not out off 2 deliveries in the second innings. So got to get the red ink no matter how it comes. So and I mean they had the cardboard statue in the foyer of the next to the cafe or whatever, which I think was a fantastic marketing idea. Thought it might have been a bit of a good luck charm, but unfortunately not to be. But I mean, look, the Vics really, they can't be too disappointed. Aside from losing the final, I think they had a pretty good campaign. And South Australia going back to back, which I completely forgot about until I heard it today. Credit to them, because it probably Saturday the game sort of looked like it was more sort of leaning towards Victoria winning or drawing. But obviously,
I don't think a draw was ever going to happen. The scores were... No. Unless there was rain, more significant amount of rain.
Yeah, the draw that was dependent on more rain,
It was such low-scoring innings, really. I mean, what was the highest score in the whole game from an innings? I think it was 70
58?
something or 50 even.
Oh,
261.
261.
261, yeah. And that was your first innings, I think, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, they made 258 in the second.
If no teams get into 300, then you're unlikely to get a draw. Especially in a game that's going the full distance of 5 days, it's just not likely to happen unless there's more rain.
Yeah, and certainly, I mean, in terms of from a bowling point of view, it's a pretty open ground, the Junction Oval. So whether there's a bit of extra breeze that sort of plays into the bowler's hands, maybe. But the good news is, I guess, looking forward to next season, is they are getting lights installed at the Junction as we speak. So by the end of the year,
I mean, look, it's looking like a nicer ground than it used to, in my opinion. Like,
it's fantastic now for boutique sort of for Shield cricket and one day cricket, and I guess that the fact that they're getting lights installed is going to mean more.
Like, they've got that full massive.
Games.
Like, I never realised they had that full proper stand there before. I thought it was one of the much more typical sort of, like, I guess you could say similar to county grounds in England, but like the lower level ones. Obviously, because of the Chester yawning again. Get the bingo out, everyone who's watching. But yeah. I've got an excuse. I've done about 6 or so out. I've been at work for 6 or so hours today, people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's. I'm surprised. It does look like a nice ground now, the Junction. So yeah, maybe next season, they can play it a lot more. I mean, I get they use the MCG if it's available, obviously. But I mean, look, the Junction looks like a nice enough ground. If you ask me.
It is.
And I'm surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm not surprised they use, because I say it's a nice ground, but I thought they would have used the G. I can't think of any other game that was using it, unless there was an AFL game that was using it.
Yeah, the Carlton Melbourne game, which we'll talk about a bit later on, that was there yesterday. But the good thing is, from a Junction point of view, is I think I messaged you because we met at Chadstone yesterday.
Yeah.
I walked past that ground on the way to get the tram up there, and there were people like out the front of on the other side of the fence just looking in. So there's really good accessibility in terms of that ground. I'm not just saying that because I'm an MCC member and I get in for free, but it's a really good sort of open ground, and you've got the hill on the sort of Queen's Road, St Kilda Road side, and then you've got those two really old grandstands and the newer one I think you were talking about, the pavilion there. Because those grandstands, because remember St Kilda used to play there in the before mid-60s, yeah. So that was their old ground.
And
so
I'm pretty sure you've seen them play like random one-off pre-season friendlies there or something, right?
I saw them train there once.
Oh, train, okay.
Because they stopped playing games there, I think, officially in the late 80s.
Oh, the WAFL or whatever it's called, they play there, right?
No, they're at Moorabbin as well. Yeah, it's strictly for cricket now. But it'll be good. I mean, will we see? I think Melbourne Stars occasionally play some of their Big Bash games there. Will we see the Renegades do the same? Because I don't really want them going back to Geelong. Because I'm not going to bother going to that. We talked about this off air before in another code about that ground. So
maybe you will.
Yeah.
If you go for the Saints game later, you are going, of course, for the Saints game later this year. If you win there again, finally, maybe that will make you go there for a Renegades game. Who knows, right?
It may do, as long as I don't have it on a Monday night, like they usually do.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, from a perspective of the back to the Shield final, look, great little boutique ground. It's easy enough to get to. I saw quite a lot of people getting off the tram across the road to head over there, which I think is great for domestic cricket and building the game. But the fact that South Australia were able to come back from a possibly a defeat at that point to win back-to-back titles is a credit to them, and the Vics, I guess, having Boland and these guys, some of these other guys away from that squad. Maxwell doesn't play for them anymore. He probably should, because he's an absolute legend. But it probably says a bit about some of the preparation, maybe, I don't know. But it's that domestic cricket season's over now, and I guess we focus on the codes that are still in play.
Well, I mean, just quickly to finish up the cricket chat, we won't go into too much detail here because I haven't really got through to seeing any of the highlights yet. But the IPL's obviously started. We've had 2 games, typical IPL fashion. We've had 2 games, and in all 4 innings, every team has passed the 200 mark. So here we go. IPL's just yet again just proving how insane the scoring in a regular where you normally expect in T20 that 160 or so maybe in the Big Bash is an average innings total. In the IPL, it genuinely is starting to feel like 200 plus is becoming an average innings total, and chasing 200 is becoming the norm as well. We did it in the season opener against Sunrisers the other night. Kohli once again with another 60, and Padikkal as well with a very good 60 of his own, and also Jacob Duffy 3 for again. I haven't seen the highlights, but just seeing the scorecard, I'm only going off that. But Jacob Duffy with an impressive debut performance for us as well. So, maybe back to back is on. It's like buses on a Sunday. We waited 18 seasons to win our first trophy in the IPL. Are we going to win it back to back?
Well, speaking of...
Not saying that you wait 18 years for a bus on a Sunday, but then maybe... with the oil crisis and stuff going on, maybe that's about to become a reality here in Melbourne.
I was going to say, speaking of bus, that 900 bus from Caulfield to Chatty yesterday was absolutely superb, so that's a tip of that. What I was actually going to ask you, just it ties in nicely because we're winging this, obviously. So, with those IPL franchises and the fact that we've heard about, I think some of the 100 teams are being privately bought by Indian franchises.
Not all, but some.
No, some. Sorry, yeah, and that's been sort of rumoured in the Big Bash as well for next season. I guess what's your take on that? Could we be seeing
I've
Melbourne,
said this before, but it wasn't on a video, so I'll say it again. This is the thing I hate about. Obviously, there's many reasons to hate what these IPL franchises are doing and buying out teams. From a point of view, as I followed football before I followed cricket, I don't know about you. I think you probably followed AFL before anything else, really, didn't you? But in the sense that being a football supporter, like a proper football supporter, your club is your club. You don't just go support a different club. So, for example, with that logic, Brisbane Heat is my club, Trent Rockers is my club, RCB is another club I support. But if RCB aren't going to go out and buy another club, because they don't really do that, they only really own their own club. They haven't been one of these other franchises like Mumbai Indians, Super Kings, Super Giant, Royals, and all these other IPL team franchises who do buy other clubs across different countries in the world. If, say, for example, they did that, luckily right now in the 100, at least for this season, at least, Trent Rockets remain Trent Rockets. They aren't one of the teams who've been bought, thankfully. But, say, for example, it happened in the Big Bash and they started buying out clubs. If a team other than the Royal Challengers bought one of these Big Bash clubs, I would be, if it was like Brisbane Heat getting bought out by, I don't know, let's say the Super Kings, I would find it so difficult to follow the team I love in the Big Bash, because they're owned by a club that I don't follow and don't particularly like, as a matter of fact, in the IPL, because it's not the Royal. If it was the Royal Challengers, then fine, I'd have no problem with that. But it's the fact that it would be like in football. Let's say you're a West Brom fan. Let's say you just got randomly bought out by by Todd Bowley and Chelsea's. But you'd find it hard to follow West Brom if they're no longer West Brom, wouldn't you?
Depends on what division they're playing in. That's
No, but even so, if they were no longer West Brom and got a new name,
no, definitely not. I think that's, but it's obviously probably a discussion we'll have further as the year goes on. But I think it's interesting the fact that I did hear that, some of those Indian IPL franchises are looking at purchasing some of the Big Bash sides. And
but don't get me wrong, for the sake of the growth of the Big Bash, and it definitely needs it, I'm not against it. I was against it with 100. I just thought I'm just worried it's going to ruin the 100, because it'll probably turn into a T20 competition, and then the 100, which I know a lot of people are critical of. I've never been critical of it. I love it. I'm one of the few people out there who love the 100 and want it to stay and want it to become international and think that's how they bring it into the Olympics of the sport, cricket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, that's a topic for another discussion, in it, the Olympics. But look, I think the Big Bash would actually benefit from IPL franchises. It would put more money in the league. You'd get better players mostly. They might even restructure the league so it's not played when Australia are basically playing the majority of their test series, so you never get these international test stars. And the Indian players might even come and have stints there as well. Because as this thing stands, it pretty much never has happened that an Indian player has come and played for a Big Bash team. Ashwin was meant to, of course, last season with the Thunder, but then with the injury, he wasn't able to because it ruled him out the whole season. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of an instance where an Indian player has actually played for a Big Bash club. So yeah, for the sake of the Big Bash, I think it would work. For the 100, I don't think. I'm sceptical that it's going to improve it because I don't think it will.
It's certainly an interesting discussion. Most definitely. So, but obviously, the cricket season is obviously just finishing, but the IPL is just starting up.
Because I will quickly say, with the other thing with the 100 is, one of the things I love about the 100, and I know you don't follow it closely, you haven't yet picked a team. Have you ever watched a game in its entirety? Even?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I do watch some games, but I just haven't picked a team. I did like the Royals because of Warney, obviously, but I don't have a particular franchise. So
he was London Spirit, I think, for one season.
Oh, you mean in the 100?
Yeah, I'm talking about the 100.
Welsh Fire.
Oh, Welsh Fire, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you meant IPL. I'm like, no.
No, I'm talking about the 100. Yeah. One thing I will say before we move on from this cricket chat is, with the 100, the other thing I like about it is there's a lot of talented players coming up through the county ranks in England over the last couple of years, and I'm also worried with the IPL franchise and putting more money in, they're going to use that money to sign more players of a higher quality or from elsewhere. So the players who you would come through, who are very exciting talents by all means, won't get as much of a chance. Because there's players you probably won't even know about, and really only people who more closely follow the county setup in England will. Even for example, Jacob Bethel basically came through from the 100, among other things as well, but primarily from the 100, and then look at his stature now. And even if we're going further back than that, we got players who last season were quite impressive for their teams respectively. I thought Sonny Baker had a really impressive season for the Originals. Hasn't really broke through properly into the England setup yet. He had an ODI, didn't really go to plan though. Benny Howell, I don't imagine he's ever going to play for England, but he's another kind of medium pace bowler who's a very kind of tricky, sort of clever bowler with his variations, again, all from the 100 and the county setup as well. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm sceptical about the IPL and the 100, but let's just see how it goes later this year, will we? Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. But so we move on. Now I did, as you know, Chester, the AFL season sort of been back for about a month, and I have made some bold calls on my beloved Saints, but I did get to their most recent home game on Saturday against the two-time Premier Brisbane Lions. So, we've got a
Premier, and they won more premiers played than that. Or do you mean the last two?
No, they're back to back, the last two in a row. I'm
pretty sure they won more than that.
Yeah, reigning premiers. So yeah. Now we do have a live stream coming up in a few weeks, but I definitely had plenty to take out of this particular game for most of it. So where do we start? 12:35 in the afternoon. First, we don't bounce it anymore, but first ball up. Tip off, I guess, is probably the term now. Lions won by 33, but look, credit to my Saints. They led with 15 minutes to go, and Brisbane being Brisbane, that's just the quality of their side. I think you've sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Needed me, shall we say, because I've been saying, this is in multiple weeks prior in the documentary that came out. It'll be our year.
You are definitely a Saints fan. You live up to the expectation of Saints fans over the things that you've told me that other fans of yours have done in the past, and the way you overhype yourselves over nothing.
Teams that under-promise and over-deliver. That's definitely not us. Over our history, but the game itself was great. It's always good to be back to Marvel.
And under-deliver.
Yeah.
More like.
Yeah, exactly. But always good to be back at Marvel under the lid. Roof was closed. I think I mentioned to you the other day that they are opening the roof for twilight and night games if the weather's good, which they used to do, back in the early 2000s. So It'd be interesting to see once the cold weather that we've just talked about comes in, and how that's going to affect.
It was a pretty good day on Saturday, wasn't it? If I seem to remember.
It wasn't. Yeah, once I left home, it wasn't. Wasn't. It was raining a little bit, but it actually wasn't too bad. Yeah. So, but I've been to Renegades games in like 40-degree weather in that place with the roof on. It's like a fucking sauna. So.
Well, they don't have an aircon when they put the roof on. That's mental.
No. I remember going to like a double header one day, and I was there for like 6 hours plus, and it was just like an oven. So it was. I think I had an argument with one of the staff because I'm like, you've got to open the roof, and they're like, oh, it's not us, it's the people who lease the stadium. I'm like, yeah, but you work for the stadium, you own the stadium anyway. Yeah. But the game itself up to the last 15 minutes was absolutely back and forth. It was fantastic. I think I used the term penalty shootout at one point just because it was, back and forth and just really, really close. I did have a Manhattan, shall we say, before, that sort of had all the different sort of connotations of the game. So it really just it petered out at the end. Brisbane sort of took control and kicked a few goals in not a great deal of time, and that's the thing with Brisbane. Credit to them, and they are previously Fitzroy. So aside from some people on social media mouthing off about us when Fitzroy had to be forced to merge and no longer exist, which I took a bit of pleasure in mentioning to them, because if that was us, I would. That's the last thing that I would say to a team where, that's where my team doesn't exist. If St Kilda went out of business and it just doesn't get said. You've got to stay in your lane. I just think it was in really poor taste from some people. But Brisbane's credit, they did run out in old Fitzroy jumpers from like the 40s, I think, because they used to be called the Gorillas before they became the Lions, right? So, which is pretty cool. They had the old Fitzroy song played, which is terrific. So, to the old La Marseillaise, the French national anthem, which is a banger. Oh, it's terrific, yeah.
Bit of a throwback. Did you ever watch Fitzroy play? Yeah, you would have, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have watched Fitzroy play, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Well, I think I remember saying when we did that list of my worst, 10 worst live games that we lost to
Fitzroy in that season where they only won one game, right?
Two. So 1995, and 4 weeks later we beat the Blues, who lost I think 2 games for that whole season by about 50 points, and they went on to win the premiership. So swings and fucking roundabouts, friends. So, but look, the game itself was great for most of it. As I said, I was sort of up and about and was sort of hoping that we'd get it, because we haven't beaten Brisbane in quite a while. We usually play over there pretty well at the Gabba. I think I said to you yesterday I went over there in 2011 and we won. And I think it was because I went to the Brisbane Beer Hall across the road before the game and went to this pub afterwards that I found out the morning after burnt down.
It could also be that you had a very good team then as well.
Oh, we did. It was coming off that second grand final year, so we still had a pretty decent side. But it's just good to have footy back. I mean, City are playing on the weekend, and that'll be good as well. But
with the Saints bye, of course, this week, but you'll still be out over there at Amy Park this time for that game against Wanderers.
Certainly do. I think the VFL's at Moorabbin on Sunday, I think, as well. So
you're definitely going to be at that one.
Might head down for that. Yeah. So they played out at Frankston on Friday night, or Frank Ganistan, as somebody mentioned to me the other night. So. And I was going to go, but then I thought,
Dandenong by the beach. Dandenong with a beach, so Dandenong with a beach. Centrelink by the sea, that was the other one.
Brilliant. Walking across the highway back to the station at about 10:30 at night on a Friday wasn't my idea of safety, but the season's still young. There's one other game that I'll just quickly touch on that happened yesterday.
Before you get to that, I just want to quickly say, because you've had 4 games now, I think, this season, haven't you?
Yeah.
Has there been any standout players for you and your team this season, whether they're bad or good?
No, they have. So we'll talk about my elephant in the room, and that's the Saints spending multi-millions of dollars on 4 players. brought in from other clubs. They've got Nazai Wangan and Miller, the guy who was signed end of last season. He still played pretty well. Other teams are going after him a bit and like tagging him, so sort of like close checking him. I don't know what the football equivalent of marking him pretty closely. So he's going to have to learn to work through that. But Tom de Koning, who was from Carlton, who I'll get to in a bit, because people that think that St Kilda's going badly, go and watch Carlton's game yesterday, go and watch Essendon from Saturday night, and you'll see that's not the case at all. So, but Liam Ryan, who was previously at West Coast, he took a in that game where I walked home and got a pizza. He took a hanger that day, which could almost be mark of the year. That was probably one of the highlights of that day. But he kicked 3, and he's basically put a Brisbane player out for about 8 weeks with a beautiful hip and shoulder, which is fair and legal in our game.
Someone basically knocking someone out.
Absolutely knocked him almost the fuck out. And while I'm on the subject, Alex Taru, the Flying Viking, as we call him, took a specky over the top of a Brisbane player. He kneed him in the head fairly, and that guy's now out concussed. So if we're going to, I don't rant on this pod very much, but I will now. If AFL, I'm squarely down the barrel at you guys, if you take that out of the game because somebody gets concussed, let's pack it up. I'll buy a Melbourne Steel membership forever from now on, because that's just ridiculous, right?
I just love how you said if you take it out of the game because someone gets concussed.
No.
God, that sport is ridiculous.
The Brisbane coach, Grandpa Fagan, as well, who's been mouthing off all week because of this whole thing with the, I think I've mentioned to you the Lions and their academies and the preferential picks that them and the Gold Coast have gotten to get talent in. Whereas we and other clubs who are fighting against it haven't had that luxury. He basically been saying, these guys at St Kilda's they've paid millions of dollars for them, but they're not the best players in the game. So fucking what? It's our money. We can do with it what we want. If I can buy a $29 scrambled egg dish from Industry Beans at Chadstone, then we can spend millions of dollars on players. Why? Because it's our money to spend.
Shout out to Industry Beans, by the way. You're a great cafe, and we'd love a sponsorship from you.
Yeah, that cinnamon scroll or whatever it was yesterday was brilliant, by the way. Very, very, like a cinnamon donut in a scroll. Yeah, it was quite good. The cinnamon butter that I put on my chips, and I don't have any regrets about that, by the way.
To be fair, it's a very good butter, isn't it? That cinnamon butter is so good.
It was good, but...
Did you help yourself to any scran at the game on Saturday?
No, I had a couple of sort of sliders from KFC because they've got this new liquid gold sauce, which is meant to be like that pepper mayo on steroids, and it wasn't too bad. I did get a Hungry Jack's coffee.
That was probably awful.
That was actually it wasn't too bad, but it was free. That was the thing. So, what else? And no, not really, but the end of the game was alright because, like I said to you, I got a Docklands tram straight away and ended up walking past South Melbourne's ground, Lakeside Stadium, and they had that track meet on, so it was good to sort of clear the head a little bit because by the end of the game I was a little bit pissed that we got overpowered, and that's basically what happened. But back to what I was saying before about the concussion. I know we care about grassroots sport, and you don't want kids to get injured, right? And you're looking at head trauma and CTE and all this sort of stuff. If we're seriously going to take something like that out of the game, and I'll tell you this, Chester, that particular manoeuvre has been in the game for over 100 years, right? As long as the Saints have been in business. If you take that out of the game because we're worried that someone's going to get kneed in the head and concussed, and the AFL are worried about it because they reckon they're going to get sued because there's already a concussion class action going on, let's pack it up. Right, I'll keep my City Reserve seat. I'll upgrade my Phoenix membership. I'll get a Melbourne Storm membership for the year. That'll be it for me because that's just bullshit. There you go. I'm off and firing tonight. You get the Melbourne
Storm membership because you want to see some heavy hits still.
Yeah. And shout out to Tui Kamikamika, by the way. He had a suspected stroke this morning apparently. So shout out. Hope you're doing well, brother.
I'm assuming he's a former Storm player.
No, he plays for them now, but I think he was playing in Queensland Cup or with a reserves competition or whatever. But bloody legend. So that was that game. But I thought I got home, and the funny thing about this is Marvel had 2 games on the same day, so that's why the game was on. So Essendon and North Melbourne had the night game. Why on earth would you choose to have that game against Essendon, who couldn't win a meat tray at the moment, and North, who are, West Coast beat them last week, and West Coast hadn't won for about a year. North are going okay at the moment, though. One of my best mates, Chief, who's a North fan, he is a subscriber of this channel. Shout out, mate. Why you'd have that? Let me think. It'd be like Wolves versus Burnley on a Saturday night in 5:30 kickoff over there.
Apologies to any Wolves and Burnley fans who might be listening.
That's how bad it was. Just like, it's
happened to pick the teams at the bottom end of the Premier League table.
I was trying to make a point, and I think I did. If the fixturing's got to be, the AFL talks about, we want the best teams and the best fixtures. That's why Saints have only got, I think, one Friday night and one Thursday night fixture up until, like I said, end of June, when they get the new times, like the Bundesliga does, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know. That's why I don't know when I'm going down to Geelong yet. But I thought, this game was shit, and then I leave you guys, you and Jay at Chatty yesterday. I'm like, there's a game on at the G, Carlton and Melbourne. I'll listen to that on the way back to my folks' place. That'll be good for about half an hour. Carlton lead, I think it was, 44-1 or something at quarter time.
For context, for those who are watching who haven't seen other videos where Ben's spoken about AFL and Saints and whatnot, he hates Carlton probably more than any other team, maybe
Collingwood just a bit ahead, Essendon a bit ahead, equal, yep. But I'll get the context as to why I hate them is because 2 of our new signings joined from Carlton last season, and there's all this talk about one of them because his dad is like he works in the recruiting team at St Kilda. He's on really good terms with our coach, so that was, and they're saying, his dad got him the job, which is complete rubbish. But and the other one's our rugby ruckman Tom de Koning, who grew up a Saints fan, so he knows resilience because he's had to live through it like all of us Saints tragics, right? So anyway, I'll bring up the.
That's not. Can I just say that you told me that's not the actual reason you hate Carlton. You've hated them long before that.
No, I've got a couple of good mates who are my Phoenix mates who are Carlton fans, and they're brilliant. They're brilliant fans, but I think I told you this story. Remember how I said we had that really bad decade of form in the 80s and we were just shit almost every year? Carlton tried to wind us up, put us out of business in the late 80s, right? And that, we Saints fans have very long memories. That's why I was saying about the Fitzroy, part of Brisbane's fan base having a go at us when, hey, you don't exist anymore in your own right. I can still go and watch my team in its own right every other week. You just don't say that, right? It's really, really poor. But so to break it down, 38-1 at quarter time, 46-12 at half time. This is when I got back to see the second half. Yeah. I'm like, Carlton might just go on with it. Carlton have been known of having really bad second halves for a while. Given the fact we've played them in about 5 weeks or so, I'm hoping it continues because that Kevin Keegan line, and you might do the accent here, I would love it if we beat them. I would love it, I would love it.
I'll love it if we beat them. I'll love it.
Love it.
I'll tell you what. I'll love it. I can't do the voice. I sound like a Yorkshireman when I do the voice. I can't do a Geordie accent, but anyway.
But that's how I would feel. It's like, it's a. We've actually played them twice this year, but it's the first one's a Carlton home game, and because it's fully ticketed, I'm still weighing up whether to pay the $40 to go or whatever. Depending on how they go. If they're not going too well, I think I might, because it's going to be worth the money. Because you've got to get return on investment, right? And if I go and we beat them, that's the ultimate return. Anyway, so 2 goals in it at 3/4 time, and then Melbourne run away with it 100-77. But the talk back and the Vox Pops, the interviews outside the ground were absolutely magic. We've talked about the people that ring in to TalkSport in the UK and Vent. SEN have the exact same thing here, and 3RW and the the radio stations and the people getting interviewed outside the ground. It was all, I'm going to burn all my Carlton gear. I'm going to microwave my membership, which is a real thing, by the way. I'm going to do this and that and blah, blah, blah.
Microwave my membership?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Wait, I don't know how membership works. Your membership for Saints, right? Is it like a bit? It's a piece of like, it's a ticket basically.
It's a plastic
plastic
card. Yeah.
Okay. I was plastic. Okay. I was going to say I thought it was like paper. I was going to say microwaving paper.
No, they used to be. No. Yeah, they used to be paper, but now you get them punched. They're like plastic cards. Although with the digital memberships that might not work so well because you'll end up microwaving your phone, right? So, but it was after what happened on Saturday. And look, I'll say this much: we haven't had the best start. I've been a bit sort of up and about, right?
Yeah.
But that game on Saturday, I wasn't too upset with because, like I said, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was like a 5-set tennis match, right, at Wimbledon. We led with 15 to go, but we got beaten by a better, more dominant side. Yes, they hadn't won a game, but they were going to eventually. And that's where the benchmark is for all sides. That's where you want to get to. So I wasn't disappointed. It was more having to read the bullshit comments on social media. The people getting stuck into us when their sides are actually going worse. Carlton, case in point. Who, by the way, just while we're doing this ad-lib thing, they mathed off at us at the end of last year, yet they only finished higher, literally directly above us on percentage. And the year before that, we beat them with 12 seconds to go in the season, and they almost missed finals. That's how good it was. So literally a snap kick with 12 seconds to go, and I think I'm sure I've sent you the clip of it before. There's Carlton fans in the stands, claiming it was touched and winching, carrying on. It was just dynamite. It was one of the best days at the footy I've ever had, really. It was just it's like the Titanic music in the background, and some people sort of dub it in the background to moments like that.
I think I get it now.
Yeah.
You hate, in terms of teams, you hate Collingwood more. But in terms of fan bases, you hate Carlton way more, seemingly. Because it seems to me like any time it's when these things happen to Carlton, it's more the fact that you just love the reactions of their fans rather than the team. Yeah,
I think because it's probably more likely to happen to them than it is Collingwood, over recent years anyway. But it's as far as that goes, that our result Saturday, as I said, wasn't great. But this result yesterday was it made me feel a lot better about things. And we've got the bye this weekend, so that'll be a good bit of a good chance to reload for the two Adelaide games, Port Adelaide on the Sunday night, pardon me, and then our big live stream game on the Saturday. So hopefully, you guys won't see all 4 seasons of me in one day.
I think you said before Crows are better than you, right?
Oh, they'd had the wood over us in games, right? But the funny fact about them is we haven't played them at Marvel since 2019, I think it was. Yeah. That's how shit house the fixturing is. We haven't played them here since 2019. We beat them a few years ago over there.
When was the last time you went to Adelaide?
2023, and we lost to them by about 60 points.
Okay.
And I went and got a souvlaki on the way back to the. That's right. I found that souvlaki place on the way back to the airport. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that again. Wasn't all bad. We got thumped. I'm like, I need something to eat. There's this fantastic souvlaki place I found the night before, by accident. A good scran. Heals all wounds, right? I just made that up, but. But look, I think Adelaide Oval is a footy ground. I have been there before. With Gather Round coming up.
You've been there a lot, actually, haven't you?
Yeah, with Gather Round coming up next week after next. It is a good ground for AFL. The old hill is quite good for watching your team on if they're doing well. Getting a taxi.
Did you sit on the hill when you went?
Yeah.
Or like every time you've been?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily the weather was good too, so you don't want to be out there. At least we didn't go out to the Barossa, which whoever's bright idea was it to have a stadium out there for the bottom teams. I really feel for you because it's just but at least we don't have to play it at fucking Norwood again this year. That's how can I explain it? It's like what's one of the worst grounds in like Melbourne, like It's like it's like Knight Stadium in terms of a football ground. That's how bad it is. It's just not good at all, and doesn't hold that many people, and just But I mean, yeah. So that was sort of the weekend for me, I guess, in terms of AFL. But going to see City on Saturday night. So and then I guess with the news that Ufuk Talay is going to be the Wanderers' new coach from next season, I think they said. So
next season. So
Egmont
is
going to
still going to be till the end of the season, which is only 4 more games for them, obviously, because they're not making finals, obviously.
So I mean, let's sort of have a bit of a chat about that while we've got the time in terms of what are we.
There's not much more I can say about that. I think the only thing I think is as much as I hate the fact that he's accepted it. At the end of the day, a job's a job, right? And it's not like the Premier League or the top leagues in Europe. Like these managers in the A-League, if they don't take a job, it may be a while till they get another one, right? So I don't blame him in a way. I still think he's a bit of a fuckwit for taking it. Because come on, man, like you won the league with us as a player. You captained us in the early seasons. You're somewhat of an early season club legend. You've managed us the last 3 seasons. Yeah, fine, we haven't won anything under him, but we've still, been alright under him. To just all of a sudden just go, nah, fuck it, I'm off to Wanderers. I mainly blame the fact that the Wanderers board think it's okay to just, rather than think of any other option, just decide, let's just go for our rival's manager. That's the biggest problem I have with this league. Obviously, the manager we now have, Paddy Kisnorbo, literally did it to you guys a couple of seasons ago, although not quite the same, because he left you and went overseas, I think, didn't he? Before he came back to join Victory for that brief stint before he fucked off again. But the way it's just a problem with the league, the loyalty thing. It's so hard to take rivalry seriously at times in this league when stuff like this happens all the time. I mean, from a management perspective, this is probably the first time I think it's ever happened where a manager's directly gone from one rival club to another one. It's just a bit ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about that. If we are talking about football, there obviously has been a couple of internationals. I don't know how much of them you watched. I've obviously seen the England game. There's really not much to talk about there. Just a really dull draw with a Uruguay team who were more content to foul us than play football.
Well, that's Uruguay way, right? But I did see the Wales Bosnia Herzegovina game, because obviously I've got a bit of an interest in that, and the shootout. Win by the Bosnians to go into the playoff, and I guess that's probably where I was going to say I'm going to probably keep more of an eye on that. But
I will say the Germany-Switzerland game was absolutely fantastic for a friendly. 4-3 to Germany. In all fairness, Germany are dark horses for this World Cup. In all honesty, they actually look good. They are starting to look good again. Florian Wirtz was excellent. And that's probably the best I've seen him play for Germany. And I hope he doesn't continue that form into the Premier League with Liverpool for the running. And Leonard Carl, good on you, Nagelsmann, giving him about half an hour or so off the bench, and he did look good. He genuinely impressed in his international debut, so it just shows this kid has really got something. Gnabry was good. I thought Sane was a bit flat. Goretzka and Kimmich good as well. I mean, all the Bayern players, right? I thought Oliver Baumann had an average game. And I'll be worried a bit for Germany in the World Cup if they start with Baumann. Call me crazy, and I know it's a Bayern bias a little bit here, but I think Jonas Erbe could start for Germany and do a better job because of how good he's been for Bayern this season when he's played.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if he's German. I'm assuming he is, but I think Kamil Grabara was. There you go. Well, he won't play for Germany, but Zorro, as I call him now, because that face mask he wears is absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
They beat who'd they beat again? They beat someone. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
Yeah. That's all right. But the big game I saw on the weekend, we didn't see, but was keeping an eye on it, was the grudge match friendly between San Marino and Faroe Islands. So San Marino did lead at one point, but I think Faroe Islands 1-2-1. That's how interesting my weekend was, when I've got more interest in that than the other friendlies. But I mean, look, it's going to be now that we're going to have more teams in the tournament. I think the review episode that we do, probably in another couple of months or so. I think it's going to be
it's
really
going to
good.
be it's going to. Well, we're basically going to have to go group by group, and we're probably going to have to do some research on it. We're probably going to have to do like kind of half the groups each, basically, and sort of go that way, because I think that's really the only doing it team by team is going to be too much stuff to cover. I mean, there's 48 teams in this World Cup. I mean, let's not forget about that. It's a hell of a lot of teams playing in this World Cup.
Yeah, but I think it's good for the game. I mean, like any sort of tournament.
Beyond 48, I think it gets ridiculous. When it goes to 64, whatever the next one is, 64. When it goes to 64, it's just getting too many. That is. That's
like participation medal sort of type.
For the teams, it's like when it's like with 64 for the teams like England, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, all those. It's just there's no point in qualifying at that point because it's just no way we're not going to qualify.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, so, but I mean, obviously, I mean, the fact that it's in the USA and Mexico and so forth, from an Australian viewer point of view, I think it's going to be great because obviously we'll get the prime time games at like lunchtime, sort of 11 o'clock lunchtime over here.
The earliest games will be like 6 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, I don't think I'll be up at 6 in the morning or going to Fed Square at 6 in the morning to go and watch them.
You're going to go to Fed Square to watch any of the Australia games?
Probably not, and I'll tell you why. Because if you remember last time, they had idiots with flares carrying on, and security cordons got knocked down and whatnot, and it's just too because people want to go and take their families and their kids and stuff, and it's just not safe. What I do hope they do, which is what I did the year before, when it was in Saudi Arabia, or was it last time? Maybe it was last time. Anyway,
Saudi Australia,
Saudi
Arabia.
Qatar. Was Qatar the one before?
Sorry,
right?
Qatar, so not Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they had the classic cinema in Elston, which actually had the games on there live. So I went to the cinema and watched our games there, which was a much more pleasant experience. So I can have it. I fell asleep at some points, given the kickoffs were like 5 in the morning or whatever. And
we benefited this time.
Oh, definitely. But no, I don't think I'll be going to Fed Square to watch a game where you've got idiots carrying on, and if I want to have flares and stuff, I'll go to an NPL game, right? So
Go to Melbourne Knights versus Green Gully or something like that.
No, I've been to that ground once. I'm never going back again. So
what, Green Gully out in Tiny?
No, Melbourne Knights.
Oh.
Yeah. Just why I never went to a Western United game, because we never played Western United there.
Okay.
Yeah. Ironbark Park. Yeah.
But look, I think that will wrap up our complete random episode, since it's getting late here. It's almost 10 o'clock now. So we'll wrap this one up for you guys with this episode should drop tomorrow. If I can get it out tonight, if I can get it, not sure if I'll be able to at this point to get it exported tonight. I mean, I'm going to edit really quickly after we finish this, after we wrap it up, and then see how we go. It'll either come out in the morning or in the evening tomorrow, people. So, excuse me. So stay tuned for that one. Oh, now hiccuping. So stay tuned for that one. But we'll be. God, excuse me. We'll be. You know what? You want to wrap this up, Ben?
We'll be back on Thursday with another episode. But obviously, it's going to be great having the Bundesliga A-League back next weekend. There's some pretty interesting games, and the Bundesliga is really heading up at both ends of the table. As we've talked about in previous episodes, Bayern are within touching distance of the title now, you'd think, and the relegation battle with St. Pauli and some other sides is really, really starting to come to the fore. So we look forward to seeing you guys back again on Thursday. So same bat time, maybe same bat channel, definitely. Take care until then, and peace out.
Yeah, see you guys, and we'll be back next time. Peace out and take care. Bye.
Take care, guys.